Thank you for joining. I'm Amanda Lowe, a Microsoft 365 Partner Marketing Manager for Business Voice, and I'm joined here today by Technical Architect Mark Brownell. Over the next 30 minutes, we will share how you can set up and manage Microsoft 365 Business Voice. We will discuss recent features that have rolled out, show some end user features, and I will walk through the initial setup through the Getting Started wizard. Then my colleague Mark will walk through Teams Admin Center. He will highlight how you manage users, telephone numbers, and devices. Business Voice enhances the calling and meeting experience in Microsoft Teams. Included in Teams is the ability to make and receive calls from a Teams app to another Teams app. Microsoft 365 Business Voice provides a cloud-based phone system that enables users to make and receive calls over PSTN in Teams. Business Voice also includes audio conferencing that enhances the Teams meeting experience by providing a unique dial-in number into every Teams meeting. Then you get the choice for how you want dial tone. You can choose to get a calling plan directly from Microsoft, which is currently available for small and medium businesses in the US, UK, and Canada. Or you can choose to get dial tone from another service provider and use direct routing. This option is available in over 70 countries around the world. Both scenarios provide end users with calling in Teams. Over the past 2 years, a lot of new features have been rolled out for Business Voice in Teams. I want to call out a few notable ones. Just recently, we rolled out Teams and Skype interoperability, so Teams and Skype consumers can make and receive calls and chats across applications. And there's a multi-window calling to enhance the user experience. Earlier this year, reverse number lookup was rolled out and auto attendant and call queues were improved. And last year, dozens of new features were also rolled out. Let's jump in and see some of these features. Off the bat, let's show off the calling experience in Teams. With Business Voice enabled, you get this dial pad. You can make calls directly from the dial pad, a contact card, or even the search bar. And the best part is that you can navigate easily from chat, meetings, and calling. Let's show you how a call park works in Teams. A call comes in, I answer it, I need to hand it off to a colleague, but I want to make sure they can take it. I park it in the call park, and then I copy the line it is on with a single click. I then chat a colleague to let them know that they have a call, all from within Teams. Once I chat my colleague, the call comes into him, and then we'll switch to my colleague's screen to show them picking up the call using the call park and the code 16 that I shared. She is now on the call. Group call pickup is configured by an end user within their team setting. Navigate to calls and select who else on the phone should ring. Let's choose a call group for this example. I then add my colleague Alex, and then Christine, and then Cameron. Below, I can choose the ring order, either all at the same time or in the order above. Let's choose in the order above. Once set up, an end user will see the call and it'll pop up like this. End users get a consistent Teams calling and meetings experience across a range of Teams certified devices. Shown here are meeting rooms, personal desk phones, and a common area phone. Launching Business Voice last year, our goal was to make it simple to set up and manage for businesses and partners. One of the ways we simplified setup is with the Getting Started wizard. In about 5 minutes, you can complete setup so your business can start making phone calls using Teams. The wizard simplifies 4 main activities: getting a company number, assigning licenses, and getting user numbers, setting a call greeting, and rules to answer calls. First, you get your company's number. Associate this number to your emergency address. Since this is part of Microsoft 365, your address is automatically pulled in. You can get a local phone number, a toll-free number that pay per user using communications credits, or an existing number. The local number is provided based on your address. If you want to use your existing number, you can transfer it from your carrier. Since that will take some time, you are provided with a temporary number. Let's choose an existing number. The wizard is great for customers to get in the product quickly and to try and test it out. It can also be sufficient for businesses with simple technology needs. Businesses and partners can alternatively get phone numbers and set up auto attendance with additional capabilities directly from the Teams Admin Center, which we will show you later on. Now that you have a company number, let's give numbers to your employees. You'll notice before we get started that there's a checkbox that gives you the ability to send employees a welcome email when their new number is ready. Since employees are familiar with Teams, there's not much training required to start making and receiving phone calls. Let's select which employees get numbers. You can select all quite easily, or you can select them one by one. Since this is built into Microsoft 365, all of your users are already set up. So all you have to do is click a box to give them a phone number. This also assigns a business voice license to them behind the scenes. If you want to add a company or an employee at a later time, that can easily be done from the Teams Admin Center after initial setup. For the main business line, many businesses have a greeting that welcomes the callers to the business and gives them choices for who they want to talk to. Let's set up a simple greeting at first. You can upload a recorded greeting, or you can write your own greeting, which creates an audio greeting. Let's say welcome to Contoso. Calls to your main company line can be forwarded to one person, like a receptionist, or you can have them go to a call menu. This associates a dial key with the voice command, and then the caller will be forwarded to the right employee. Let's have one go to sales, as that is our most frequent caller type, and forward that to Adele. You can build more complex call trees by having it go to a group of salespeople within the Teams Admin Center. Let's have two go to shipping, and forward that to Alex. Now you can add call instructions to help the caller navigate the call menu. You can upload an audio file or write instructions. This lets callers know what dial key or voice command to use to reach out to the right person. Let's write the call menu. Click Next and your setup is complete. You can see a summary of setup here, including your company's phone number in the call tree. In less than 5 minutes, we got a company number, employee numbers, and set up a simple call tree. Now that Business Voice is set up, let's look at the Teams Admin Center for additional configuration, policies, and reporting. My colleague Mark is going to walk you through the rest of the demo. Off to you, Mark.
Thank you, Amanda. Now we'll transition to showing you the key elements to managing and administering Business Voice within the Teams Admin Center once you've completed running the Getting Started wizard. As you can see here, I have the Teams Admin Center opened here. It's a powerful web portal that helps you fully manage and administer your Business Voice phone system once you've completed the Getting Started wizard. It gives you a complete detailed reporting and status of the phone system. The portal is divided up into a number of sections that you can see off here in the left pane. It provides quick and easy access to managing the phone system. And for the purposes of this session, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on a couple of the key areas that you should focus on once you finish running the wizard. Some of these include devices, the users within the phone system, your meeting settings and policies, your voice settings and policies, and lastly, analytics, where you can take a view of the usage and the reporting within the phone system. Once you've completed the wizard, it's important to look at a handful of these policies to make sure that they meet your business needs. The system is designed with smart defaults when you set the phone system up to match most small business requirements. However, it is important to take a look at these to make sure that they meet your business needs and are customized to suit your needs. Some of these include, under voice, calling policies. You'll notice the global org-wide default here, and when I open it up, there are a number of parameters in here that are automatically turned on. It's good practice to go in here and take a look to ensure that they meet your business requirements. Another area is around caller ID policies. By default, the caller ID for outbound calls that's sent is going to be the end user's telephone number. A lot of organizations like this to be the main number that's sent outbound for any outbound calls. In this case, I've set up a main number caller ID policy, which sends the main telephone number as the outbound caller ID instead of the user's. Another policy is around call park. By default, call park is turned off in the business voice phone system, and it is a common feature that's used in a lot of small businesses. It's important to go in here within the global org-wide default, and you'll notice that I've turned the flag on. By default, this is turned off. Just simply go in, turn it on, and save the setting. The last area is around dial plans. The best example that I can use from a dial plan policy perspective is that a lot of small businesses still like to use extension level dialing. This dial plan section allows you to be able to set up a custom policy, which I have an example here, called extension dialing, which allows for 3-digit dialing of extensions within the phone system. Business Voice provides the ability for the IT pro to manage several end user features, key of which include features like call pickup and shared line appearances, which is also known as call delegates within the Business Voice phone system. Under the Users section within the admin portal, I can navigate to the Voice tab once I've selected an end user. And as an IT pro, this is where I have the ability to be able to set up and administer and manage these two features. In this example, you'll see that I have Alex and Zahid that are in a group for call coverage for Adele. I can customize the notifications method, and I also have the ability to be able to control in terms of the method in which the incoming calls come for this particular call group. If I scroll down a little bit down to the bottom here, you'll see that I have call delegation. And this is where I can set up a shared appearance of a user. As I mentioned previously, Microsoft calls this call delegation. And in this case, we have David that has a shared appearance of Adele. And this appears on the Microsoft Teams client as well as the telephone devices. It also allows me to control in terms of some of the permissions in the way that the delegate is handled, the calls coming into the delegate are handled. Lastly, I have the ability as an IT pro to control as to whether or not the individual has the ability to be able to change these settings. Key to any telephone system, once you've initially set it up, is the ability to be able to acquire and add new telephone numbers to the phone system once it's been completed. Good examples being you add employees, or you need additional service numbers for automated attendance or call queues, which we'll cover momentarily. There are going to be certain circumstances where you're going to need to acquire additional telephone numbers for the phone system. This could be examples like adding additional employees to the company, or possibly adding additional service numbers for the purposes of creating automated attendance or call queues. To be able to do this, you navigate to the voice section under phone numbers and click add. Give the order a name. You do need to complete every field. I'm going to select the country. And then the number type. I just want to highlight this for a second. You'll see that there are several different types of number types. Mostly you'll be creating or acquiring user or subscriber numbers, but you can see that we have a whole host of different types of numbers that could be acquired within the phone system itself. For the purposes of this example, we will select user subscriber. You provide the emergency address, which will prompt the area codes that are available for that particular region. Going ahead, select the quantity, then you will click next. You will then be presented with this screen, which is a preview of the numbers that are being provided from a reservation side of things. You get confirmation of the country or region, number type, the area code, location, quantity. At this point, you can go ahead and go down here and click place order. Then you're presented with the screen. Thank you, your order has been placed. Just click finish. This will take you back to the screen. The next example we want to show you is once you've requested telephone numbers and have acquired them, you naturally need to be able to assign them to end users. It's as simple as staying in the voice section under phone numbers and selecting the number that you wish to assign to an individual. You go up here and click Edit. Put the individual's name in. In this case, we're going to select Christy Klein. You need to select the emergency location. And just click Apply. And you'll receive confirmation up at the top that an email notification has been sent to the subscriber, along with the telephone number. In this next example, it's important that once you finish running the Getting Started wizard, to go into the automated attendant, which is located under the voice section under auto attendants, and review what you set up within the Getting Started wizard. There's a couple things I just want to highlight in here. It's also from a familiarization perspective, be able to know what's in there in terms of being able to administer and manage it once you've set up the phone system. You'll notice that everything that is set up in here is in order for what we've provided in the Getting Started wizard. But as I go through each of these screens, I will come to the business hours. And this is one of the things that's not done during the Getting Started wizard. You need to go in here and set up the business hours, which will have an impact in terms of what you want to do for after hours call flow. Depending on the type of business, good examples might be that you might forward to a call answering service, or you might have certain staff that are on call after hours, and this is where you would set up each of these elements. I'm going to click Next. Also, from a holiday call settings, this is where you would set up your holiday schedules. In this case, I'm not going to go ahead and do this, but I just want to highlight a couple of the key areas to make sure that you're paying particular attention to them. The next example is around creating a call queue. Again, under the voice section, if I go to call queues, this is where I create a call queue. It's as simple as clicking Add. Go ahead and name it. Call this customer service. You'll notice that I don't have a resource account, which is required to be tied to the call queue. And if I click Add, it'll prompt me to be able to search for one. And once I type this in here, if I haven't created one, it's nice because it prompts me to be able to add the resource account. Go ahead and give it a name. The resource account type, in this case it'll be a call queue. I go ahead and click Save. And Add. Now I have everything associated. I'm going to go ahead and select the language. In this case, we're not going to create a greeting. We're going to have the default music. I can go ahead and upload a custom one. I can then go ahead and add agents. In this case, we'll add just a handful here, just for the purposes of showing you. Click Add. And you'll notice that I can control in terms of the order. I can also add groups if I choose to do so. And then there's the routing methods. Each of these little bubbles give you a description of what the type of routing mechanism is, but there's 4 different: attendant routing, serial, round robin, and longest idle. You can also tie on presence-based routing if you wish to do so. You can set up all these different parameters in terms of how you want to handle the queue, in terms of what happens when the call maximum number is reached. I can set up call timeout handling as well. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. And it's as simple as that in creating a call queue. The next area that I want to cover on is around devices. Business Voice has a whole host of different types of devices that are available, from individual workspace devices to shared workspace for your conference rooms that can be used. What's nice is that within the Teams Admin Center, we've given you the ability to be able to administer and manage these devices, to be able to get visibility at the end user level from a troubleshooting perspective. Best example is taking a look. If I go navigate to the devices section under phones, you can see that I have an inventory of all the different telephones within the Business Voice phone system. If I navigate to Teams rooms, you'll see that I get an inventory of those as well. Let's go back into phones. If I go into Marks here, if you can see here that I have the device name, the status of the phone, as well as the manufacturer and all the details of that phone, along with available updates to the phone itself. But what's really powerful is the fact that I now have visibility to a whole host of information on this device to include, in terms of the software health, I can look at the details of the device, the activity on this device, as well as the history in terms of the administration of what's been done with it. Let's go back to activity for a moment. What I want to highlight here is that I have a whole history of all the information regarding the calls that were made with this device. This is particularly important from a troubleshooting perspective. A good example here is if I go to the Teams room and go to this MTR under activity, you'll notice that all the fields are very similar in terms of what they're providing for details. But what's nice about this is if I start to look at this, I now have the ability to look, for example, audio quality poor, to be able to drill down into a specific history and take a look at what the root cause of the problem was. You'll notice that I can go ahead and look at all the details in terms of the participant during the time of the call and be able to drill down into this information to understand the particulars in terms of the root cause. And as I scroll down to these details, you get more and more information that's available to you. In this page, I have an overview, but if I go to the Advanced tab, I can even get more details. As I start to scroll down, you'll see that eventually I will be able to get to a field to know that the average round trip time was out of the parameters. That concludes our session for today, but there are a few things that I'd like to highlight prior to closing. In terms of getting started with the business voice, there's some resources we'd just like to highlight. Number one, from a Microsoft Teams perspective, I highly encourage you to leverage the Teams Advisor that's built within the Teams Admin Center to assist with planning your deployment of all the workloads within Microsoft Teams. Also, there's an adoption hub that's available for your deployment and adoption of the service, which provides a whole host of information for the IT pro, but also from an adoption perspective for your end user training. Specific to Business Voice, we strongly encourage you to sign up for the 30-day Business Voice trial, which is available within the admin portal within Microsoft 365. Lastly, leverage the Get Business Voice deployment and adoption support from the Business Voice Hub, which provides you all the assets and resources that you will require to be able to set up the phone system, but also to be able to use as a resource for administering and managing the phone system on an ongoing basis. I would like to thank you for your time today and appreciate you attending this session.